hi to Nonhle.
Hi, Adrian.
Okay, guys, it's 4 o'clock, so I think that we should begin. Nonhle, if you're ready, shall we begin? And people can join as they like. No closed doors on this platform. So, hi everyone, and welcome to this CCS seminar. And we're having a bit of a special series, a short special series, looking at the resource curse. So it's today's seminar, next week, and the week after, and we'll tell you a little bit more about those two seminars at the end. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shona Mortier. I'm based in development studies at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and I also direct the Center for Civil Society. And I'm introducing Andries Mutau and Danford Chipvongodze, who facilitate the seminar series at CCS. So today we are very, very excited to welcome our speaker, Nonhle. And Nonhle is an activist. She is also a farmer, and her work is based on the struggle for land and environmental rights in the Eastern Cape province. In 2007, Nonhle founded the Amadiba Crisis Committee, and the point of the committee was to unite community members in 5 villages of the tribal authority region to work together in opposition to destructive mining projects. So she is now the most visible leader of the campaign against the Australian corporation that discovered titanium in this tribal authority region, the Australian corporation Mineral Commodities Mineral Ltd. Nonhle's work is engaging the community also in farming and food security workshops, and she's launched a number of these projects in her community and also in local schools. So the topic of her seminar today is the curse of titanium, the Amadiba Crisis Committee and community struggles in the Eastern Cape. Nonhle, a very, very warm welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join us. Many of us are huge fans of the things that you're doing, so we're so thrilled to be able to engage with you today. I'm going to turn over now to Andries, who is facilitating. And Andries, just a quick question, Nonhle, are you comfortable with us recording this, or do you want us to stop the recording? Because we don't want to make you uncomfortable or cause any problems. So please let us know if you're okay with the recording. Andries, I'm going to turn over to you now.
Okay, I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, we are losing you a bit there, Nonhle, but I think she's comfortable. So just welcome everyone. Welcome to the Center for Civil Society, and good afternoon. To everyone that has joined us, we are going to give Nonhle about 30 to 35 minutes to give us a talk. She said she doesn't have a presentation, so she will just listen to what she has to say. And then after, we'll take questions and answer. So Nonhle, you've got 30 to 35 minutes to present on the work that you're doing. Then we'll have question and answer after. And to everyone that has joined us, if you have any questions and you cannot hold until Nonhle has finished presenting, you can raise them in the chat bar, or alternatively wait until she's finished and raise your virtual hand. I'll recognize everyone after Nonhle has spoken, and please keep your mics and video muted until we have recognized you to ask a question. Nonhle, thank you for making the time, and over to you.
Thank you, Andreas. I hope I'm not going to put so much of my video because of the poor signal, because I might be not so good if I put the video, if it's okay for you. But I just put my picture to see who you're talking with. But okay, the more I speak, I'll put my video off.
Okay, no, it's all good. You can put it off, Nonhle.
Okay, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. We can hear you perfectly, Nonhle.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me here. Let me start to the theme of today, the case of Titania at Amadiba. Maybe let's start with the resource case. It's a term used to describe a strange situation where a country don't develop its economy, has high unemployment, hunger, and poverty in the whole population, despite having a lot of valuable natural resources, like our own country. Because if you see, South Africa is having quite a lot of resources, but the rate of unemployment, the poverty is very high. That is the resource case. But you can see these resources that we have so much as South Africa, it shows that are not going direct to the population of South Africa. It goes somewhere else. That is why we did even speak today that as Amadiba, since the Australian company discovered the Titania, coming a case to Amadiba community. It just involve assassination, intimidation, bribes, dividing our community. You know, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a case actually. For them to discover that, it was showing us that when you are sitting on top of minerals, the government is not letting the community what local development should be. It's only they are focusing on the national economy, and in an expense of destroying the local economy. Like for example, in our community, we do agriculture, but not monoculture. The agriculture for livelihood. We do ecotourism, but you can see between these three development, the only development the government they see it can boost our economy is Titania, because right now it's a question of the mining can coexist with tourism and agriculture, and the government official always says that yes, it can coexist. But on our own research, where we visited some other areas where the titanium, like in Richards Bay, where the community resource, which is titanium, this cannot coexist, because the community we speak to in Richards Bay, they told us that they used to produce quite a lot of food, but since the mining started there, they are no longer producing their own banana, the maize, you know, all the produce they used to be working, because the soil is been disturbed, the soil is been contaminated. That is why we said that when you have resources, your community is in a case. And like for example, in our situation right now, the basic needs where the government's supposed to support us, it's no longer been put in place, because they were doing an exchange of basic needs from the state. We must say yes to a mining to go ahead. And the question, why we need to do an exchange in order to get service, basics service like any other people where they don't have the minerals on their own land. Like for us, there is no water that have been supported as the rights of the community. Our roads are not in a good condition. And you know, the schools, we contribute money to build our own education, our own schools. And when you try to speak to say that no, we are citizens of South Africa, why we are not being supported like any other people. They said you are anti-development, and you becoming an anti-development because you don't want the mining. And if you say yes to mining, they said that those things you'll get if you say yes to mining. So it was becoming a curse. And also the ecotourism that we do have it here, it was being destroyed completely. We are trying to revive, and we are not even being supported during the budget, our own tourism, because instead they want to take the tourism away from the local to give so-called investors, because we are not fit to develop our own economy the way we see our own. It's a long fight when you have resources in your community. Right now, we also have cases where our people are being beaten, and we've cases where the threats, we have the cases of assassination, but also the justice is not being served to us. As Amadiba Crisis Committee, we cry day and night. We are living under a very difficult situation because of the curse of resources of the minerals was being discovered, where everybody from the state and the mining company, they see us as a stumbling block of the development. And the question, what is development? Is the development supposed to come from the top or from the bottom up? What type of state are we? Why we've been forced at the top? Like, for example, the judgment was being handed down in 2018 of where we were given an opportunity as community to give a consent if the mining is going to take place, but our own government just decided to appeal that decision because they don't see that community have a right to decide, have a right to choose. It's only the government can choose on behalf of the very, 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 very painful. But some people, they even wonder, what is titanium we are talking about here? Titanium, it's an open cast mining dioxide that they want to mine along the coast of Amadiba. Titanium dioxide is a mineral-based white pigment used many product. In some toothpaste, it is used in a very small concentration to make the color of a toothpaste white, which many consumers like better because it is white as healthy teeth. I read it in one of the articles. Titanium dioxide does not provide any oral benefit. It is simply part of marketing tactic to appeal to those who like brilliant 1% of all ilmenite is used for pigment. But mostly people, they think this titanium is used for tooth or the hip, which are the important, but not knowing that 98% of this ilmenite is used for pigment to whiten things. That is why here we said that for us as a country, we live in a situation where we push mining because right now we are facing of a water crisis as a country, not even only as Amadiba. But this type of mining they want to open here, it consumes tons and tons of thousands of liters. And the question, where that water they're going to get from? While the entire Winnie Madikizela Mandela doesn't even have access to the household. That means the water will be there when the mining is being operated. and where that water will be taken from. You know, it's a lot of questions. And also, when you see there's new policies that are being put in place in our parliament, like the Traditional Khoisan Leadership Act, where it's given the right to sign business deals with the mining company, our rural communities. Our chief in Amadiba was co-opted already in 2012. Such violation of customary law, they now want to make it legal. You know, you can see it's really, really, really complicated when in your community you find some minerals. It's a case, because at the end of the day, you'll suffer with poverty, you'll suffer with diseases, a loss of land, because once the land is being destroyed, it's irreversible. But they always says that they will do the rehabilitation. But the question, if the rehabilitation have been done in South Africa, not at Amadiba, why in Mpumalanga the land is collapsing? Where are those mining companies? And right now on the Western Cape, where the same mining company do want already done a huge environmental degradation. But where is the government to enforce the law? You know, it's a mess. And the question, where are we leading? Are we leading the country to poverty, to dependent to the state, to those 350, where the community cannot plant in their own garden? The fertile land is already been damaged. You cannot rehabilitate that. Those are the questions that we are asking. Right now at Amadiba, we feed the world, but the government does not recognize that, because it's not a monoculture, it's a permanent culture where we do agriculture throughout the year. And they will recognize when we do only one product. And also, as we talk about tourism, it boosting in our area mining, where they discovered the titanium. It will be a history. It will be no more tourism, because tourism is not about a big building or hotels. You know, tourism that we are talking about here, it's eco, it's about culture, it's about history, it's about nature. But which tourists can come all over abroad just to come and see the dust and see the contamination of water? You know, tourism and mining can coexist. Thank you. Let me stop right there. And I'm willing to take any questions. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you very much, Nonhle. It was quite insightful. You've raised really important questions in your presentation. And for those that have joined us a bit later, you can raise your virtual hand if you have any questions for Nonhle. And yeah, Nonhle, I got a question on what tactics have you taken to stop mining operations in your area in Xholobeni?
Okay, thank you. The tactics that we used in Xholobeni is to inform the community, is to raise awareness, is to mobilize. It's quite, because, sorry?
Mbuthuma, can you please mute yourself? Can you mute him from your side? Hello? Can you please mute? Yes, you can continue. Sorry about that, Nonhle.
Okay, no, it's fine. I was saying that the strategies that we use as Amadiba, we do mobilize, we do educate, we do run awareness, to inform our community with everything, to give them as much as information as possible about this animal that we are facing with. And to do so, it did help us a lot. The majority of Amadiba realized that it's not about creating jobs, but it's about destroying their own life period. And then it was easy for them to take a right decision, not a decision that is going to benefit only them, but the decision that is going to benefit even the next generation. And beside that, we do also approach the legal advice because it was very difficult to fight on the ground. The mining company always put money in the center of your community and to divide you. And there was trying to make our community to take the law on their own hands. But immediately when we add as our strategy the legal advice, people were educated to know that no matter how difficult, but don't break the law, don't take the law on their own hands. Just keep focus in your own good cause. Otherwise, if you the way it's pushing you, it push you in a way that where the activists are going to be arrested. But we did win to make sure that our activists are not being arrested, although some are being arrested. And also, we use the media. We tell the people that they must free to speak to the media for themselves. You know, the media, it's very difficult to get hold of media on those days, but they're free and they can speak freely for themselves. It did help for even anybody to understand this is not about one person, it is about the community.
No, thank you very much for that. I see there's a question on the minerals. Is it the same mineral in Richards Bay, or ilmenite or titanium dioxide that they are mining in Xholobeni? Also, there's a question on the community. Why doesn't the community strike a deal with the mining company so that they can get a stake from the proceeds made from the mining of titanium in Amadiba? I think maybe you can answer those questions and then I'll give you other questions. And for those that want to ask questions, please raise your hands. Yeah.
Okay. What they discovered here is the same titanium dioxide or ilmenite discovered in Richards Bay. That it's been discovered in Madagascar, Mozambique. It's the same along the coast. What was your question about the community?
Oh, the second question was, why doesn't the community agree and then they benefit from the proceeds instead of the government? Why don't you strike a deal with the community, with the mining companies, and allow the mining to happen there so that you can get the proceeds?
Okay. The issue here is not about benefit. The issue is about protecting our livelihood. Now, when we make a deal, it means we compromise our livelihood just for taking a deal of 22 years. And then, because that's this mining operation. And then the question, after 22 years, what's happening? How are we going to survive? To take a deal of just 22 years for our livelihood that we live for centuries. You know, those were the questions that we're having. That is why I said that education, conscientize our people, we put the cons and coins together and to see that, okay, no, that's something that is short term. It's not going to help us, but it will create a problem to the next generation. We're not only thinking for ourselves, we're also thinking for the next generation, that when they come, they will utilize the land, they will use the land in order to benefit even their own next generation. That's our decision.
Yeah, no, I really love your answer, especially in terms of livelihood and thinking about future generations. I see Ndu. I'm going to recognize Ndu to raise a question. Then after Adrian will also ask a question, then Coral. Then yeah, we'll go from that order. Ndu, you can raise your question. Ndu, you are muted. I think Adrian, Ndu, while he's sorting out his technology, can ask your question.
Okay. Thanks, Nonhle, for a great presentation, and hello again. You just mentioned the future generations, but I also wonder about the relevance of past generations in your struggle. And I wonder if you can just comment, is there a particular historical legacy that informs your struggle? Because you seem to have some form of heritage to draw on there that maybe other places, I'm thinking KwaZulu-Natal, where I'm also doing some work, don't seem to have. Would you like to comment on that?
You know, here at Amadiba, when we talk about the next generation, it's because of the history that we have here. We are coming from an apartheid regime like anybody else. But when it comes to the land issue in Pondoland, it have the history itself, where the British government was trying to take the land away. And our ancestors, they fought for that. And the reason was the same reason that we are fighting right now. They said that, no, if the land, it will be demarcated for a development, but what about our next generation that is still coming? In 1960s, you know, what about them? We can take this deal from the British government, but the next generation, that decision, it was a learning for all of us, that when you take a decision that is not only for yourself, but is also for the next generation. You're not only thinking for yourself. And to make sure that the decision that you're going to take is not going to having a negative impact to the next generation. That's what we're doing because of the past. We learn from our great ancestors that try to think for the next generation. And we hope that even the other communities where they have the same mining, before they take a decision, I know it's not so easy because the mining companies, when they come, they don't give the communities a time to discuss and a time to think. It's always a push to our communities that you must give a decision right now, and the government need to grant the license. And that is why the dialogue to our community is to rethink and to reverse a little bit, to know how did they ended up here and how did they have this land, why this land is so important to them. But if there is no dialogue and they just wake up in the morning and find the government is already issuing the license, it will be very difficult for the communities because they always put jobs in front of our communities, because they know that when they put this word jobs, and people will be jobs, not knowing that these jobs, it's just a temporal job, but it's not permanent. This job is coming to destroy your permanent solution of your livelihood.
No, thank you very much for your answer and your question, Adrian. Coral, I see you've raised your hand. You can go ahead and ask your question. Coral?
Yes, hello.
Yes, you can
Molo,
go ahead and ask your question.
Molo Nonhle. I'm from Amnesty International Durban, and we have followed your struggle for many years since the Durban International Film Festival screened Shorebreak. And this struggle has gone on and on and on without any resolution. And I'd like to ask you two questions. And the one is, has there been any further investigation of the assassination of Bazooka? That's the one. And the second one is the Durban International Film Festival is screening a film called Morning Star, where the people of Southwest Madagascar have the same issue of mining on their land and also fishing. And their government have listened to them eventually, and they seem to be resolving that issue of the same, I think it's the same mining company that is trying to mine your land in Madagascar.
Maybe not to comment on the two questions.
Okay. Yeah, to the question of our late chairperson, it's very complicated. Since he was being assassinated in 2016, there is no arrest. But the police are still keep saying that they are doing the investigation. And we don't know how long it's going to take place, their investigation, because as I said, since 2016, now it's been quite a long time. And we hope that the police are not going to do the same tactics where they don't want to investigate the cases, especially that is related with the activist. They will say that we close this case because there's nothing that we can investigate more further. That is the situation right now. It's not even clear what are they doing. We're pushing hard to make sure that this case is not going to lie on the ground. We're holding the ball at the moment to make sure that we push the police with any information to make sure that they are doing the right thing. Because if our activists are going to be assassinated and then there will be nothing after, there will be no justice. There will be no justice. That means the space of activists will be shared because no activist will be interested to speak out and to not to be afraid of speaking if the activists are not there is no justice. And I hope the police, when they are doing, they were not only focusing only because there's so many activists that have been murdered in South Africa. Also, we've heard recently Mamunjangase being assassinated, and we hope also the South Africa is going to put hands to make sure that there is some arrest. This is the only thing that can make us community to heal and to see that there is a progress in the police system. But at the moment, we don't see their progress. On that video, we'd love to see of Madagascar as Amadiba Crisis Committee, because every corner you see where they discovered these minerals, but the communities are more poor. That is why we ask a question: are these minerals for boosting the economy for whom? If the communities where there is so much minerals, but they are the most poor. Thank you.
No, thank you, Nonhle. Yeah, Emma, before I recognize you, Nonhle, you touched on Ms. Mchangase, who was assassinated. How has this impacted you in your fight against corporates, major corporates? Has it intimidated you, or how has it impacted you? I think that's one question, and then I'll recognize Amber after.
You know, after I heard that Mama Mchangase was being assassinated, that activist has been assassinated, I just becoming angry. And I look at the security issue in South Africa. How are we going to make sure that activists are being protected? Because even myself, right now, I'm sitting with a lot of threatening SMSs. But I see that when it comes to investigate, find out who's sending those that they are coming after me now, they're going to take me out, you know. But the question, what can we trust? What can we trust? Is the security in South Africa in crisis? Or what's going on? But no matter the security is in crisis, but it doesn't make us to be shaken or to be scared. What I'm saying, we rather die of lies, you know. To tell the truth, one day the next generation will thank, and one day even those big corporations, they will see that what they are doing, there's some people that are watching them. It doesn't make me scared, but it worries me a lot that how come we can feel so safe? Where can we feel so safe? We have a freedom of Africa if assassination are going left and center.
Yeah, it's really, you know, shocking that even to this day there's a form of struggles that present themselves. I mean, we came from apartheid, but then still people continue to struggle. Amber, you can raise your question. You've raised your hand for quite some time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this talk, both to the organizers and everybody. I do have a question. I have a question and a comment, actually. I do research on, as I put in the chat, struggles against ilmenite mining in Madagascar, in both the southwest and the southeast, the Base Tuliara mine and the Rio Tinto QMM mine. And there is a lot of local concern about, excuse me, environmental impacts, and particularly radioactivity, because there's a good degree of background radiation in the area because of naturally occurring uranium that gets concentrated in the mine wastes and then finds its way into the water supplies in the soil. So a colleague of mine actually wanted me to ask, and I would like to ask as well, if this has been an issue for you. And then the second thing I would like to say, there was a comment from someone with Amnesty International, and it sounded like they were saying that a lot of these issues, there are so many issues that are very resonant with what people are saying and experiencing in Madagascar around ilmenite mining. But somebody was saying that these issues are being well dealt with in the Southwest by the Malagasy government, and to my knowledge, that's not actually the case on the ground, and that's not what people who are terribly affected by these projects are saying. Now, that might be something that the government is claiming, but the government is, you know, in a partnership with these mining companies as well. So, so their claims always need to be investigated, I think. But yeah, so I will be quiet now.
Thank you very much for your question. Nonhle, would you like to comment and answer?
Thank you. I think what is happening is that when it comes to a government and the private companies, they are sleeping in one blanket. That is why I was saying earlier, the problem that we are facing here, also the other African countries, they are facing with the same problem. Where when it comes to the environmental degradation, the government is not taking any serious measures. And as we said that here where they want to mine, it's just along the beach, it's on the dunes. We know that the chemicals that they're going to put, it will go straight to our estuaries. And the estuaries are the source or is the home of ocean, because this is where all the marine life lay the eggs. But if the estuaries are being polluted, I mean, the cycle of the marine life, and nobody cares what cycle can be destroyed, because they think when they destroy the marine life just for a short term, it will be a good solution. That's how the government see the minerals as an only alternative when it comes to economy. Not think about okay, what can we do in order to meet because to make sure that we are not destroying everything in the country, because right now the minerals, I mean, the South Africa is rich in terms of minerals, but when it comes to unequal society, we are worse. We are rich in terms of minerals, but these minerals are not supporting the country. Instead, in our country, it's becoming a curse, because what we get, our livelihood is being destroyed. Our people are being evicted from their land, and you know, our water has been contaminated. Our soil is being polluted. We can't produce the food anymore. That is why we said that as Amadiba, we can make money as much as possible. But at the end of the day, what we want, all of us, even those that are rich with money, they want food. But if we our food security is not being secured, we have a big problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Before I recognize you, Nonhle, there's a question from Dumiso. But then before I ask that question, there's a question about the government. I mean, you spoke about different sectors that can benefit there, not only mining. You spoke about ecotourism and agriculture. Have you tried including them? Have you tried including them and communicating the benefits that will be there to them? Have they been involved with you? I think maybe you should answer that question, and then I'll recognize this as well. Nonhle?
Hello.
Did you get the question?
You're breaking up.
Oh, okay. I'm saying, since you spoke about agriculture and tourism, have you engaged these different departments in terms of the benefits that can be there, or have they been involved in any kind of way to try and stop the mining? Have have there been any engagements?
We did try all our best to engage with them, to write to the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, to write to the Minister of Tourism that we need to be supported. Right now, in our community, we have a lodge that is owned by community. And it's always been fully booked. But what is needed from that lodge is just to renovate and to make it look better, because it was like we're being funded by European Union early 1989, you know, but we don't have any help from them, any support from them. And also the agriculture that we're talking about, we did engage to say in a way where we want to have a market where we can sell our product. We're not saying that we need some machineries and everything. We do have land. Our land is very fertile, but what we need from them is where they can open a space to help us. Where can we sell the product? But all those efforts were not going anywhere, because the only seen as a good development, it's not even one a minister from tourism that can visit us and support. That is why I said that even during the budget, you know, everybody knows that this community is interested in two types of development. But even our local municipality, if you look on the spatial development framework, they all also put the mining, that it will uplift the economy. And how can you expect the government can support when their own plans, you know, they were putting the mining, go to our local municipality, go to the provincial, you know, they, on their discussion, it's about we are sitting on wealth, we are blocking the development for the country will be rich if we are not blocking. But when we said that, no, mining is not only option, only alternative. There is an alternative here. Agriculture, ecotourism, please support us on this. And then nothing. Even on the they are not even recognizing us, that we are doing a good job of owning ecotourism. But instead, they just said on their own IDP says that they are looking for investor to come and take it over from us, because they know that if they put somebody from outside, it will be easy to sell our land when to do an exchange for a mining. Yeah.
Tisezo, you can ask your question. Yeah. Tisezo, are you there? I think while Tisezo is fixing the technology, Dumiso has asked that since the battle for mining has been going on for years, how has it affected the community's livelihoods, the communal relationships, cultural practices, and ecotourism? How has this been shaped and influenced by the ongoing battles?
Okay, yeah, since the battle of mining has been going on here, it did affecting our livelihood, because we can see the government alone is not supported. It's so biased towards the community, because you know people are not like water. They are not going to go on the same direction. There are some people that they are in favor of mining. They see that it can create jobs. Now, our own government, when they support our livelihood, they only choose those that are pro-mining. in order to make us jealous, to see that, oh, in order to get something from the state, is rather to say the mining is good, you know. But we do wonders, even if we are not being supported. Right now, we're never even been supplied by any food parcels, but we survive, as they call us, that we are the poor of the poorest. But the poor of the poorest, why we're not being prioritized to give the food parcels, to give everything, because we are the poor of the poorest. But we, the one that we also even being in solidarity to support by our own harvest, our own food. Like recently, abahlali basemjondolo, houses were being burnt down, but our community did contribute on their own harvest, not buying anything from somewhere else, and with full of truck, and then we sent to Durban. You know, we still strong, and we try by all means that our culture, because the culture and the tourism are always go together. Our culture is not been changed because when the culture is there, people, they respect the environment. But once the culture is no longer there, as they try to push the mining, because we know that once the mining it can take place, the culture, I wouldn't even ever think of, there are things that are important. They make people to live long because of their respect, because of their living with. Like as I said, culture is the way of people in Africa to respect the nature, to know that, okay, that tree, it's part of me, that water is part of me, because we are doing some cultural activities. Now I must conserve, I must take care of, in order for the next generation to have it. But the overpopulation, people will no longer respect the culture. But right now, the culture is still there. It's not been being destroyed as well.
No, thank you very much for your answer, Nonhle. So would you like to try again and ask your question? Maybe you might unmute. Yeah. So we cannot hear you. I think I'll just read your questions in the chat bar. Shona, I see your hand is up. You can ask your question.
Thanks so much, Andries. Nonhle, my question is just with regards to solidarity, because these sorts of struggles are going on all over South Africa. I just wondered what sort of networks of communication activists within organizations like yours have with each other. So, you touched on how you responded to ABM during the burning, but I'm just wondering if there is any sort of formal link amongst you where you can, where you're linking your struggles. Is there anything like that happening? Because it seems that everyone's fighting their struggles in silos, and the struggles are against huge companies like this one, who really are very powerful. They have legal resources, they have financial resources. And the only thing that the struggle has is, the resource of people power. And I think, possibly those links might be a new kind of strength, or an important kind of strength. I'm not being very coherent, but I think you know what I'm getting at. So I just wondered if any of those links are there, or if there's any concerted effort to build such a network. Thanks, Andries.
Thank you very much, Shona. Yeah, and Nonhle, but I think you can answer to Shona. We had a similar question.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of communication, honestly, it's true what Shona she's saying. I don't know. I see each communities fighting their own battle in their own corner. the social movements are, the space, is it shrinking? What can we do in order to make sure that the space of the social movement is not shrinking, but we are coming together? But in my source of thinking, if the NGOs, they can, because for us as social movement, it's very difficult to bring solidarity with the support of NGOs to bring us together, like a Legal Resource Center, Amnesty, you know. That's how we know each other, and then we support each other. When the others, they have a problem, we can go to support. But if the space of socialism is shrinking, it means that we're going to have a problem as social movement, because the space is smaller and smaller and smaller. But the more the space is becoming smaller, it means that the space of capitalism is becoming bigger. I think we need to pull up the socks in order to close this gap. And I call upon all the other people to close this gap amongst ourselves. And because it's not about we need to support with tangible things, but even some words, you know, when the other communities, they have a problem, a moral support to see themselves that they are not alone, but there's other people. But if that space is not there for the other NGOs and the other community, I mean, other parties rule, this is where the solidarity can come in, because we don't know what is happening in Durban, you don't know what is happening in Cape Town. But I hope that when this pandemic is the thing that we need to look as together with the people that are NGOs, to say, how can we close this gap to make sure that we support each other, we solidarity with each other.
No, thank you very much for your answer, Nonhle. There was a question on the youth. It comes from DSSO. Usually the youth favors development that will give them jobs, whilst the adults prioritize land. Has this been happening in your community? And how would you want the outside world to support your cause? I think I'll ask two more questions after, then we close.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. To get jobs, it's a way out. It's a good escape. Not thinking that tomorrow you can be not in job, and then what's going to happen next if you are unemployed? We have that kind of society where people are not thinking out of the box, where people are not thinking far to say that, okay, because jobs is not something that is coming from outside. You can create jobs for yourselves, you know, sustain for yourselves, create jobs, like building things that it can sustain the future. But we never think like that as people. There are some people that they think, okay, if somebody coming from outside, they are going to create jobs. Not just from outside. This person would left again. It's come and go. And we need to educate our people that these come and go are not a permanent solution, are just temporal solution. We need to think, how come as a country to build something that it will be a legacy of the next generation, not just a come and go. But we are thinking only the mega project, which is short term, And also in terms of the support from abroad, that is very important. And as right now, we've been supported by Amnesty in South Africa and also abroad, and the human rights organization from abroad and in South Africa as well. That support, that solidarity, it must keep going, because the support that they gave us to write so many letters to our government, it helps our government to open the eyes and to think before they push that they've been washed by so many people. It's not only this community that they're trying to crush, but there's some other people that are watching. Now, it just make a little bit of the government to put so much pressure. This is what it did help us at Amadiba, with the solidarity, with the help of the people from abroad, to write letters to please protect Amadiba community, protect Amadiba community. But to do so, it's good for those supporters to listen attentively. What is the struggle? Because also, if we're just jumping to get the solidarity or the support, and some, they are not even understanding what is your struggle, what do you want to achieve at the end of the day. And that is why to listen our communities as people that are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nonhle. Before I take Ritabile's hand, which is the final hand, I'll just read through Martha's comment. Martha was a student at UK, was a master student at UKZN, and he has conducted research there. So Martha has commented that in regards to the assassination of activists, I remember you shared a message with me that Bazooka left the people of Amadiba with, and I was wondering if you can share it here again, because I think it's very important. It's a very important message that needs to be shared wide in terms of activism. Just to remind you, it's a message about how if one person falls, you should focus on the pillar. And after you have responded to Martha's comment, I'll recognize Ritabile, then we close.
Okay, the question is asking if she can share the message.
If you remember what you shared to her, yeah, but something that you shared to her, and she thinks that it's important that you share it here, if you still remember.
Okay, honestly, there's so many things in my head. And I'm always like under stress. I might not remember now. I will put it not in a good way. I was going to be so pleased if she still have it to put on the chat, just to see what did I say, because there's so many things going on here.
Okay, no, perfect. Martha, while you think about it, I'll just recognize Ritabile. Ritabile, you can ask your question.
Thank you for recognizing me. Yeah, I'm the one of the people who benefited from tourism around Amadiba. But now there is a problem. We know that mining, we have been reading a lot about mining. It's not good for that community, and it's not beneficial for us. We have been reading through internet and a lot of books. But now, since there is a lot of division in our community, and there are no roads, electricity, and schools are far, what do you think we should do to make those things happen? Because we need roads, we need electricity, all those things. What do you think? Everyone can answer this question, because we are struggling. There are no roads. The clinics are very far. Schools are far, about 30 kilometers. So what do you think we should do to help us do those things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming there. This was a question that was posed to everyone. If anyone has comments, maybe they can comment, or use is not there as well. You can also comment.
Okay. Can I? Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead, Sis Nonhle.
Okay. Thank you, Ritabile. And I'm glad today I see somebody coming from the same community. Yeah, on the issue of the service delivery, it's a problematic. That's what I was raised, that to community behavioral, it's a case. Now, a case is where we are not being serviced. We are denied for our own human basic rights. That is why right now, as Amadiba Crisis Committee, we've already write a complaint to the Human Rights Commission. And the Human Rights Commission is working on that. And they are pushing our own government so that they do not deny our human rights, our basic human rights. They cannot, just because we said no to mining. This is where we are right now in order to make sure that our basic human rights are there. We've been serviced like any other people, but we refuse to do an exchange in order to get those basic rights. That's where our stand as Amadiba Crisis Committee. We said that if the government says that they cannot give us our basic rights until we do an exchange, that means we live like this, because we used to live without those basic needs. But we're just demanding the rights of everybody, not just because there is a mining. This is our basic rights as citizens of South Africa. We have to benefit on our economy of South Africa. We have to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Nonhle. Martha, maybe you can make the comment quickly so that I'll be able to close. I see we are over by 7 minutes, but then we are almost done. Yes, Martha, you can unmute and share.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Sis Nonhle. Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just to, we were talking about Bazooka, the assassination of Bazooka with Sis Nonhle. And yeah, this is just a message that she shared with me when I was doing my research with her. And just so everyone knows that Bazooka is the late chairperson of the Amadiba Crisis Committee. And she was saying that just before Bazooka was assassinated, she says that when he was being assassinated, a message that people forgot about was that when Bazooka left, he had said that because people thought that he was the strong pillar of Amadiba Crisis Committee, they were hoping that if they take him down, then they take out that pillar. And she further said that they forgot that this pillar means that if one person or that pillar collapses, it doesn't mean that the message is done with. What they must remember is that when one pillar is taken out, there must be each other's pillar, and they must put that pillar back immediately, and to make sure that there is order. They should not look at the pillar that is falling. They need to focus and put a new pillar immediately and continue. Otherwise, that will be the struggle that will be the end of the struggle. And I just think that's important, especially with regards to our activists and how they're assassinated. And I don't know, I think it's just a thought that people think that if we assassinate the leader, then that's the end of the struggle, but they don't realize or they don't respect the core of cohesion in these social movements. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, Nonhle. I don't know if since Nonhle you'd like to quickly add to that, then I close.
Yeah, thank you, Mash. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's true, because when they take the activist, they think always that it will be the end of the struggle. They forget that this pillar have so many branches, and one branch will become a pillar. That's why I said that when they take Bazooka, they were thinking they were finishing about the crisis committee. But the crisis committee was becoming stronger and stronger. Even today, the minister tried by all means to come, but Amadiba, even without Bazooka, are still saying no to mining, and are still united to say no to mining, and we defend our land until our last breath. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nonhle, and to everyone that participated today. I think it was insightful when you narrated. It's like a horror movie, you know, happening in the 21st century, but then this is the reality of South Africa. And I'd like to share that, you know, they went from Mpumalanga, they did that coal mining. They're coming for you, even if we are not directly impacted, but then they'll come for us at some point. And if anyone is working within those spaces, because then, I mean, there was an issue of civil society not working together. Maybe with the people that you're working with, try and allude the message to them that it's better that civil society come together and then fight together, because I think if they fight together, the fight will be much more progressive. To you also, Nonhle, enkosi kakhulu for ixesha lakho, and then for coming to share with us your story. Yeah, we'll fight with you. We are fighting with you in spirit. Yeah, thank you very much. Shona, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to share.
Thanks, Andries. Thanks, Dan. I just want to thank Nonhle so much. It was really so lovely to engage with you, and I'm personally so thrilled to have met you today. Thanks to everyone for participating and joining us. Please join us again next week when we have Nathan Andrews, who is inviting us to look beyond the resource curse, and he's drawing from his case study in Ghana. And then the week after that, we've got Pasha Madavi, who is looking at debates around nationalization, and his focus is oil, and he has some interesting theories around that. So please join us if you are interested in the topic of the resource curse, and thank you for joining us. Thanks, Andries. Thanks, Dan. Thank you to Melanie for organizing. Keep safe, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Nonhle.